Lord. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Been a little Andre Crouch this morning after prayer. God bless you. Good morning, Nina. Good to see you. Bless you, woman of God. Bless you. Apostle Walker, God bless you. Hey, Trenda. My brother, Apostle Thomas, God bless you. God bless you. So many people joining this morning. Sister Woodson, God bless you. I don't know who all is coming on this morning, but God bless you, Prophet Joyner. God bless you, Prophet Tammy. Guys, keep up the good work. I see y'all out there working. This music does not belong to me. I have no rights to the music. I should have put that on the screen. I guess I'll try to put it on at the end of this live. And kind of coming out a little bit this morning. There were some things that God dealt with me about. God bless you, Prophet Anaya. There's some things God showed me. God bless you, Apostle Teresa Johnson, Pastor Bernice Marshall. God bless you guys. Please like and share or tag somebody this morning that you believe that will bless them. Hey, daughter Sandra. I'm going to go out, step out and share some things this morning. I want to give us a few minutes to log on, and those that might be coming in can get in. I saw Pastor Christine. God bless you. Amen. Prophet Renee, God bless you. God bless you, Dr. Richardson. Hey, Renee Curry's on with me. God bless you. Teresa Cooper. Please, guys, like and share. The mountains high, through the valley low, going through the storm. The Bible says in the last days that men's hearts shall fail them for fear. But I tell you, fear is one of the main spirits that got us where we are now. The enemy was able to exploit fears and hatred and all of that stuff that got us where we are now. Sad. It's sad that I even got to talk about what I got to talk about, but I'm going to do the best I can. I also got a live radio show at 9 o'clock this morning on WJFP.com. For those of you who may be watching anywhere around the world or around America, for those of you who are in Florida in the Target area, in the Tower area, you can get me on 91.1 FM on your dial or wherever WJFP Tower reaches. Amen. Please, guys, like and share. Like and share. Like and share. Comment. Feel free to comment. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Who shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When the wicked, even my foes, came upon me, that they stumble and fail. Though a host should encamp against me. Somebody was just trying to call me. I don't normally get any phone calls this time in the morning, so I can see right now. Hey, Apostle Dion, you guys on that shut-in, I know you're tapping in. I know you're tapping in. Please like and share. God bless you, Latricia Williams. Thank you guys for coming in on this morning. I don't know if you know, but today at, I think it's 2:18 p.m., we're going to get a presidential alert from the government on our cell phones. It'll be a text message. It's going to come to us by way of FEMA, but it is supposed to be an alert. And supposedly this system, which has been set up since 2012, they're just now deciding to use it. Can you imagine if President Obama would have done this? How evasive. That you cannot opt out of this. If you have a cell phone, and if your cell phone is on today, you're going to get a presidential alert. Now, supposedly this is to set up a system whereby all of us can be warned in case of some type of natural disaster or some kind of emergency situation that will come up. They can send us a text message to our phone. You remember, some of us are old enough to remember the old air raid drills in school. And I remember us having those old air raid drills, and we had to get up from our desk and get in a line and march down the halls and down the stairs and out the buildings. And they would show us where the nearest fallout shelter was, because we lived under constant threat of a nuclear war and a nuclear strike, mind you, from Russia. From Russia. And so they did that for many, many years in the public school system to try to help us in case of some type of attack from a foreign government, a foreign country. Now, this new presidential alert that's going to come to your phone today, they said around about 2:18 p.m. Eastern time, every person who has a cell phone on is going to get a presidential alert, which is supposedly set up to warn us of some kind of possible natural disaster or something. I want you guys to think, and don't fall for the okie doke. Don't fall for this nonsense. And everybody needs to think the system that is now in place. Everybody's got a television. We got, of course, cell phones. We got really immediate access. But now they're giving us, or have set up a system that will give them the ability to not only pinpoint our direct location, but to send us a text message warning us of some type of disaster. And so it is important that you and I catch what is happening. A presidential alert. Now, they say that no, Donald Trump won't be texting you. Well, it doesn't matter if Donald Trump is not sending the text. The text is coming by way of their administration. And it's a test. It's a test text. And it is going to be to alert people what is going on. For example, right now, if there was a natural, no. if there was a terrorist attack like 911, they will be able to send a text to every person with a cell phone and supposedly to give us a warning. Say it was coming in and it had not struck yet, but the text is given. Or they could possibly send a text to warn their patriots that they're about to start a war. And a purge needs to immediately begin. I don't know what these people are up to altogether, but I do know that this is unacceptable. And if you are not alarmed, you should be. You should be alarmed. You should be disturbed in your spirit. And because all these years we have been conditioned for this. I want to read something to you. You saw my, apparently you saw my alert, so you're on here. Please like and share or tag somebody. 2 Peter 2:12. But these as natural brute beasts. Y'all know several months ago when our president, 45, and his administration decided that they would take children away from their parents and lock them up at the border. When they decided that they would crack down on immigration like they did, I remember seeing it on the evening news and then got down in prayer and carried it in prayer because it just disturbed my spirit to no end. And it disturbed me to the degree to where it drove me to tears. I began to weep. I got on my knees and I started praying and I talked to God about it. And the Lord spoke to me and said these words to me. He said, the lion doesn't care that the gazelle or the wildebeest that it is about to eat is a baby. So they were putting babies in cages, taking babies away from their parents and locking them up in cages and deporting their parents, and in some cases putting their parents behind bars. And God said to me, he said, the lion doesn't care that the baby that he is about to eat is, that the gazelle or the wildebeest that he is about to eat, or the animal that he is about to devour is a baby. The lion doesn't care that it's a baby. The lion is doing what is instinctive for the lion to do. The lion literally is going to take that baby of that other creature, that other animal that he is about to eat, and feed that creature, feed that baby to his babies, you see. So watch this. I want you to keep that in mind as I'm reading 2 Peter 2:12. But these as natural brute beasts made to be taken and destroyed, Peter said. He's talking about men. He's talking about people. And he said that they are as natural brute beasts and made to be taken and destroyed. He said, speak evil of things that they understand not, and shall utterly perish in their own corruption. So he called them a brute beast. Let me break this down. A beast, a live thing. And I like the fact that he said these as natural brute beast. Natural brute beast. Brute beast. Alagos in the Greek for brute, which means an irrational brute, an unreasonable, destitute of reason, contrary to reason, absurd person, a brute. and irrational, unreasonable, destitute of reason. I'm wrapping it up a little bit because I'm getting a little indignant. Contrary to reason, absurd. That's what that word brute is. Dictionary.com says brute is something, someone without the faculty of reason, deprived of reason. Listen to this. Without or deprived of normal mental clarity or sound judgment, not in accordance with reason, utterly illogical, irrational arguments, not endowed with the faculty of reason. So Peter called them natural brute beasts. In the words, that word natural there is from a word in the Greek that means instinctive. That their instinct is that of an animal. The instinct is that of a beast. The lion has an instinct for survival. That's what he's doing. He's trying to survive. And in his instinct for survival, he has to devour smaller animals that are, or animals that are less defensive or that have no defenses against him. And he has to devour them in order to survive. He has to eat them. He has to eat their babies. And all of this is done for his, or through his instinct for survival. The beast is instinctive. Let me tell you something. That stuff that we saw down there and we're watching down there on the southern border that is still going on is the instinct for survival. The survival of a way of life, the survival of privilege, white privilege, the survival of the white race having all the power. What they're doing is an instinct to survive. Yeah, that's what it is. Make no mistake about it. And so the lion has the same instinct for survival. Let me just drop this in your spirit. Did you not know that that man shares a day in creation with the beast? According to Genesis 1, every beast of the field was created on the sixth day of creation. Now that's also the same day, and that's going to be important as I go further in this Facebook Live. The sixth day of creation is also the day that man was created. In other words, man was created on the same day from the beast, or as the beast of the field, on the sixth day of creation. So we share the sixth day of creation with the beast of the field. The only thing different in man is that God breathed in man's nostrils the breath of life, and he became a living soul. But man, if he is not careful, he can be instinctive like a beast, and we're seeing it right now. So let's look at another scripture, Jude 1:10. Jude says the same thing that Peter says, but he says, but these speak evil of those things which they know not, but what they know naturally, as brute beasts, in those things they corrupt themselves. Now, watch this. Naturally, inborn pattern of activity or tendency to action common to a given biological species, a natural, innate impulse, inclination, or tendency. Survival, that's what survival is. Survival is an inborn pattern of activity or tendency to action common to any given biological species. A natural or innate impulse, inclination, or tendency. That's what survival is. That's what the instinct for survival is. What we're watching is the instinct for survival in America of the white race. Now, I'm not saying this to stir up impassioned stir up a passion or prejudice or a hatred or anything. I do believe that we can live and coexist with people if we desire to, if we want to. If we throw out this superiority and the supremacy mindset, then we can live together in peace. But you see, that's not likely to happen. Now watch this. So Jude said the same thing, but these speak evil. And I want you to notice that that both Peter and Jude identifies something that has been spoken, something that is being said. Peter said these as, I'm going to read it again, but these as natural beasts made to be taken and destroyed speak evil of the things that they understand not. He said they speak evil of the things that they understand not, and that they should utterly perish in their own corruption. Jude says, and I'm going to read it. Jude says, but these speak evil of those things which they know not, but what they know naturally or instinctively as brute beasts. In those things they corrupt themselves. We're seeing something, my friend, that is unlike anything that we have ever seen in our lifetime. And it is downright scary. That's why I played that song in the opening of this Facebook Live. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Who shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? Now, so I want to deal with this a little further. So he talked about the natural brute beast. Now, again, we share a day in creation with the beast of the field, the 6th day of creation. And so that basically lets us know that man can allow himself to be degraded to something low, to something like a beast. The lion is trying to survive when the lion eats that baby deer, that baby gazelle. The lion, that's his instinct for survival. He'll rip that baby apart. He'll tear into that baby while he's yet alive. He will strangle it to death with his massive teeth and jaws, or with his mouth around his throat. He'll tear him to pieces, and then he'll devour him, because this is his instinct for survival. What we're watching and what we're seeing is the instinct for survival. Now watch this. And it's inborn. And Peter and Jude both said it's natural or it is instinctive. We're watching what beasts do instinctively when they think their abilities for survival is threatened. Now he said that they're corrupt. In other words, they're having or showing a willingness to act dishonestly, corrupt. Jude said, woe unto them, for they have gone in the way of Cain and ran greedily after the arrow of Balaam for reward, and perished in the gainsaying of Korah. These are spots in your feast of charity, when they feast with you, feeding themselves without fear. Clouds they are without rain, carried about of winds, trees whose fruit withereth, without fruit, twice dead, plucked up by the roots. Now, get a little deeper. I told you that man was created on the 6th day of creation along with the beast of the field. 6 is the number of man. In Revelation chapter 13, verse 18, it says something that's downright scary to me. 2 years ago, God gave this to me, 2 whole years ago. God gave this to me, and I stayed away from it, but I can't do it anymore. That thing that I saw, where they're going to send something to your phone and my phone, they're just conditioning us. They're just getting people ready for what's to come. The other day, I was riding down the highway, and I think I was on my way to the airport to come home from my last speaking engagement in Alabama, and I saw lined up on the highway at least 10 or 12 all-terrain vehicles with white people in fatigues. Now, these were not military people. These were regular folk riding along the highway before day in the morning. It was dark outside. And they were practicing war games. They were in and out, going down off the road with their army fatigues on, men and women. And they're getting ready for something, and you and I are out here with our head in the sand, thinking that Robert Mueller is going to save America, thinking that the midterm election is going to do it, and it might. It might. But these folk are planning something. These folk have got something going on that you don't know about. And I can imagine an alert being sent to certain people to take up arms and to start a civil war. Revelation 13:18. Here's wisdom. Let him that had understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. So he said that in Revelation 13:8. So here's wisdom. And he says that I want you to use your wisdom to count, or to compute. Man's got a number. Man's number is 6. He was created on the 6th day, same day of the beasts of the field. There was something about numbers. God numbered everything. He started counting when there was no one here to hear him count. If you look around your house right now, everything has a number attached to it. Measurement, weight, density, size, height, width. You got a number attached to you, your age, your birthday, your birth order. Everything has a number attached to it. And so John says, here's wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count. Let him count the number of the beast, or arithmos. That's that word, number. Arithmos, an indefinite number, a multitude. Let him count the number of the beast. He said, for it is the number of a man. I'm going to come back to that. Paul says in 2 Thessalonians 2:7-12, he says, for the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only now he who now let it will let until he be taken out of the way. In other words, iniquity, or anomia in the Greek means illegality. That is a violation of law, generally wickedness, unrighteousness. Listen what iniquity is. And Paul talked about a time and a person. I'm going to say it again. A time and a person where there would be a mystery of iniquity. And that word iniquity, anomia, in the Greek means the condition of without law. The condition of without law. I have never seen anyone in my life who is so without law. The condition, this is what iniquity is, the condition of without law. Watch this. Because of ignorant of it, because of violating it, having contempt for it, the condition of without law, having contempt for the law. What we're seeing is a total disregard, a total disdain, a total contempt, a total lawlessness in this foolishness in Washington, D.C. How lawless is this? That today you're going to get a text message, whether you want it or not, Today, you're going to get a text message sent to your telephone. You can't opt out of it. A violation of your basic right to privacy. You're going to send me a text. I didn't give you my number to send me a text, but you're going to send me a text. I can't opt out of it. 225 million people going to get a text today. A presidential alert. Well, I'll tell you what you can do with your presidential alert. God got to help us, and we got to stand up. Now, the mystery of iniquity or lawlessness, we're watching it. We're watching laws being violated. I'm not just talking about laws that they have agreed upon in Washington, D.C. I'm not talking about the laws that our legislative body, those too, but even natural laws, even laws that are against nature, and even God's laws are being violated in a way that's beyond our ability to even comprehend in this season. You see. Now, I want to read something. I'm going back to Revelation 13 and 18. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast. Let him count the number of this natural brute beast. Let him count the number of this instinctive person. Let him count the number of this person who is acting out the basic instinct for survival. Let him count his number. For it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Notice that the numbers of the chapter and the verse equal out to the numbers, or look at the numbers 13, because it's Revelation 13 and 18, and I'm going to come back to that because that is vital. Our president was born on Flag Day. Let me just drop this in here. 45 was born on Flag Day. This is why there is this real thing about the flag and this wrapping himself in the flag. He's not patriotic at all. He had bone spurs and he couldn't tell him which foot it was on. John McCain went to fight and was captured and was held prisoner for years in Vietnam, and even when they was going to let him go, he wouldn't leave because they weren't going to release everybody. And he stayed. They beat him so until he could no longer, for the rest of his life, raise his arms above his head. He went and fought. And the person that we got now didn't fight, lied his way out, said he had bone spurs and couldn't go. Now, I'm sorry. I know there's some folk watching this that's going want to do something to me. God bless you. But our president was born on Flag Day. June 14th, 1946 is the day he was born. And he has wrapped himself in that flag for years. The so-called patriotism of the flag. Colin Kaepernick refuses to stand and put his hand over his heart and recite the pledge allegiance to the flag. And by the way, did I tell you that the Lord is my banner? That God said that he was our banner? Did I tell you that? Did I tell you that God, a Jehovah Nissi, that the Lord wanted to be our standard? That God never intended for us to have any other standard other than him? Did I tell you that? You see, so Colin Kaepernick, who refuses to stand and put his hand over his heart and pledge allegiance to the flag because of social injustice and police brutality and things that have been happening to us for many, many years, he is being fought against by the man whose birthday is on the very day whose existence in this earth realm has always been connected to that flag. And so therefore, somewhere in his mind, he believes that this is purpose and destiny, and there are millions of people who believe the same stuff. And it is, to some degree, but not like they think. So, here we are. Donald Trump was born 6/14/1946. Flag Day. The original flag had 13 stripes and a circle of 13 stars. 13 is the number of rebellion. If you read the book of Genesis, and please, you guys, don't just take my word, do this. If you read Genesis 1, you will see that in initial creation, that God used 12 commands of let. When he said, let there be light, 11 other commands of let followed him while he was creating everything that we now see. In Genesis 1:26, he uses the 13th command of let, or he uses let for the 13th time. He says, let us make man in our image. So 13 has always been associated with rebellion. 13 has always been connected to rebellion. God said, let us make man in our image. That was the 13th time that God used let. Go to Genesis and count it. Don't take my word. Go and count from Genesis 1 to Genesis 1:24, that everything in creation is created by God saying, let there be, let there be, let there be 12 times. And then when you get to the 13th time, Genesis 1:26, he said, let us make man. So the 13th command of let was God creating man. And 13 is the number of rebellion and disorder. So man rebelled. Just want you to remember that. So this is Revelation 13, and it talks about a rebellious man. It talks about the mystery of iniquity. It talks about a sinful man. And it says, let him that hath wisdom count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. And his number is 666, or 666. Now, so I told you our president was born on 6/14/1946. I want you to do some math with me. The number 6, June, that's the 6th month of the year. This came on my knees. I'm not that smart, y'all. This came to me while I was in prayer. This part of it about a year and a half ago. 6, June is the 6th month. So if you take these numbers and you just look at that number 6, June 6, then you add, because he said let them count, let them compute. That's what that word count means, compute. Then you add 1, 4, and 1, which are the next 3 numbers in June 14, 1946. So you got the 6 standalone, and then you add the next 3 numbers, 1, 4, and 1, and you have 6. So now you have 6, 6. Then you add the next 2 numbers, 9 and 4, and you have 13. You have 13. 9 and 4 is 13. And then you have the last standalone number, which is the number 6. So on Flag Day, 1946, a man whose number is 136 was born. 13 stripes, 13 stars. America was born out of a rebellion, born out of a revolution. That's why these folk are planning another one. That's why they're going into a whole nother revolution. Y'all better pray, and you better do some other things too. Now watch this. 6:6:13:6. So, you said, well, Apostle, you crazy. You are nutty. I might be a little crazy. You're going to have to be a little crazy to survive in this atmosphere. But look at that chapter, Revelation 13, the number of rebellion. Revelation 13, the number of rebellion. I couldn't make this stuff up, y'all. Revelation 13, the number of rebellion. And verse 18. So Revelation 13 and 18. And if you multiply 6 3 times, you come up with 18. So Revelation 13:18 is basically 13:6:6:6. I can't make this stuff up, y'all. This is the same equation that that you get from June 14th, 1946. 13, the number of rebellion is in there, Revelation 13 and 18. 18 is 6:6:6. I can't make this stuff up. 18 is 6 3 times. Revelation 13 and 18 talks about a rebellious person who is going to come on the scene. Whose number will be 666. Revelation 13 and 6. 13 and 18. 3 times 6 is 18. So I can't make that stuff up. I couldn't. And the original flag was designed with 13 stars and 13 stripes. And because Colin Kaepernick refuses to stand, put his hand over his heart, and pledge allegiance to a flag that has come to represent oppression for his people, the hounds of hell have been released against that young man. He's not a patriot. He is very unpatriotic. He's this and that and the other. Pulpits all across America was denouncing him because they feel as though we all should have more allegiance to America in its wrongdoing than we have to God. He refused to lower the flag when John McCain died. He refused to lower the flag. Wouldn't lower it. After they convinced him to do it, he did it for a couple of hours, then he put it back up, then they had to lower it again because the real patriots, the folk who went and fought in wars, protested, you see. So today, you're going to get a text message to your phone. You're going to get a text message to your phone today. It said 2:18 Eastern Time, whether you like it or not, whether you want it or not. You can't opt out of it. You tell me if that's not a violation. Supposedly to alert you in case of some natural disaster. Well, let me tell you, or a terrorist attack, or to alert you that there's a civil war. Y'all, we in a mess. We in a mess, and we are the generation born into this mess. And you could write me off as being crazy if you want to. I'm cool with that. But you know what? That means your head is in the sand. And I'm mindful. I solicit your prayers. Nike, let me just say this and I'm done. Nike said something by choosing Colin Kaepernick as their spokesperson. Nike associates their brand with success. As a matter of fact, in 1 Corinthians 15, 58, I think it is. Let me see. Let me be certain. In 1 Corinthians, give me a second to pull this up. I want to make certain that I got this right. 1 Corinthians chapter 15. He says, now thanks be unto God, who giveth us the victory. And that word victory there, in that verse, is the word Nike. 57, 1 Corinthians 15, 57, it says, but thanks be to God, which giveth us the Nike, or the Nikos, through Jesus Christ, or through the Lord Jesus Christ, through our Lord Jesus Christ, to giveth us the Nike, or giveth us the victory. So Nike says, we're going to connect our brand to Colin Kaepernick. And our brand is a brand of victory. Phil Knight, who dropped out of college and started selling Japanese running shoes out of the trunk of his car at track meets in Portland, named his brand Nike. And then hired a young lady named Carolyn Davidson, who was a graphic design student, to create the swoosh, that logos, that swoosh that you see on the Nike brand for $35. And he didn't like it at first, and he only paid her $35 for it. And he said, well, maybe it'll grow on him, and it did grow on him. And so later on in 1983, Phil Knight, in order to really sufficiently reward this young lady, gave her a gold ring with diamonds in that swoosh emblem, and then gave her an envelope full of Nike stock to reward her for that. And so the word Nike also means, in the Greek, the means of success. The means of success, you see. So Nike got a little prophetic, said, Colin Kaepernick, who haven't thrown a football in the NFL for 2 years, for 2 seasons, he haven't thrown a football. What we're going to do is we're going to connect our brand with him because he's a winner. He's a LeBron James. He's a Kobe Bryant. He is a Serena Williams. He is he's a winner. And we're going to connect our brand with him because he's going to win. Well, that's what Nike did. Connected their brand to him, even though he doesn't even have a contract. He's not even playing right now. God can give us victory. He can give us Nikos or Nike because he's given us the means of success. You see, we can win. We will win because we're ultimate winners. I hope I didn't confuse anyone. I got about 3 days of teaching I'm going to do on this subject real soon. Not on Facebook, though. You're going to have to come to my service when I come to Chicago. I got a whole lot to say that I cannot say on Facebook Live. And I am very disturbed about this text message that's come into my phone today, this presidential alert, these war games that they're playing, and stuff that's going on. The other day, that was an advertisement on Craigslist for white people to come together and get ready to kill black and brown folk. If we would send out something like that, we would be not only investigated and brought down, we'd be jailed. So I want you guys to be prayerful, be mindful, like and share this, tag somebody. I know I'm gonna be attacked. It might not even make it past this. They may not even post this. You see. But those of us who are on here, and they might even throw me off of Facebook now. It's very possible. You see. But those of us who are on here, at least we heard it. At least we saw it. God bless you. Thank you for joining me. Like and share.